Okay. Doing the usual, testing the audio, seeing how the vibes are. Honestly, it's pretty solid. I'm also gonna turn my mic down a little bit because this fan in the background is a little aggressive. And then because of that, we gotta turn down the desktop audio. Just balance. It's great. Yeah, we're gonna get a little bit of a drink. I actually have a decent amount to say about this book. So we're gonna go ahead. Open up my notes, which we aren't. It is a arc, so we're not going to have full notes present. Why is it acting like there's literally no music playing? Okay, there we go. Being absolutely ridiculous this audio is. There we go. Okay. We should be good. We should be good to go. So, salutations friends, my name is Brianna Seekiam Bond, otherwise known as No Ordinary Scholar, and we are talking today about something more. Oh my god, I really loved this book. I really loved this book. So, let's talk about what it is, what happens, book things. I'm such a dork, but in my defense, I'm also deathly exhausted. What did it drop? It's fine. It's totally fine. It is not something that I should be too concerned about. I don't know where to put any of my stuff. I don't have my, stand. That shouldn't affect audio at all. It's not blocking the actual mic part. It might. You might hear it when I'm trying to scroll, but I don't have to scroll too often. So that's fine. So something more is this book. Our main character, Jessie, right before she goes off to high school, she finds out that she's autistic, and it's one of those things where it makes sense. It helps her understand herself and her makes sense of why she struggles. She's always struggled so much with making friends, and why she struggled in this or that way with other kids in school growing up. It makes sense. It's but it's also well, now what do I do? And for the most part, she would like to make friends. She has some goals that she sets. She has some pretty solid goals that she sets for herself for school. She wants to make some friends. She, wants to find a boy, but she wants to survive. She wants to survive under the radar. That doesn't really happen, but she enjoys her time anyway. She ends up right away, out the gate, on the jump, she falls hopelessly in love with this dude, Levi, who is in her science class, and he has feelings for her too, but the whole situation between them is super messy, and she can feel the effects of the messiness and the extremely complicatedness of their relationship. Meanwhile, she's making some good friends, some of them with a group of girls who there's also a lot of complications in that whole setup. But she's also making friends with this guy, Griffin, who used to be in her art class, but then he transferred out, and now they're doing drama stuff together, and he is just so easy to be around for her, He makes her laugh. They always have a great time together, and even like when there's silence, it's not like it's like comfortable silence. It's a great. She really enjoys being around Griffin. And like I said before, she's also trying to figure out how to engage with these girls that she's trying to be friends with, and how her relationship with them is, they're like barriers that her autism like has that makes it hard. She's also trying to get into the school play that she's just wants to perform and she loves to perform, but technically there's like a no freshman policy for school plays. But for this story, boys, and especially Levi, are like the focus and the center of the story. First thing, what we must get across, what we must understand together right away, is this book is so goddamn funny. I assure you, I'm not lying. I am being so completely honest. I was trying to read this on my lunch break at work, and the number of times I actually choked, I like literally almost choked to the point where I stopped eating whilst reading this book because I was scared it might kill me. This book is so funny. It really, really is. I was on the ground the entire time reading this book. It's so good, and I'm so excited to read more by this author because, oh my god, it's so funny. It was so funny just the entire time. And because I inhaled this book. I was supposed to take like 2 weeks to read it. I read it in less than a week. I inhaled this book like I needed it to breathe, and it was absolutely fantastic. Now, let's talk about these boys. Before we talk about the boys, let's talk about this one other thing. It's not a major thing in the book. It's not like, it's more of like a brief thing. It's almost more of more of an explanation to readers, especially non-autistic readers, non-autistic girl readers, that, like, there's a point at the very beginning where Jessie is talking to this doctor, and this doctor gives like a pretty generic description of autistic girls, and there's the doctor is basically saying like, oh, I asked you, hey, do you probably prefer to do this and this, and you're like, no, not really. And the doctor's like, see, that's a sign of autism, because if you were neurotypical, you probably would have just nodded along and like said, yeah, sure, just to be polite. And it's one of those things where it's like, it's a very it feels more like for an audience, I can see how you would take that and like use it to like kind of understand a little bit more. But maybe it's like because I am also autistic, and especially because like reading words and like words and the structure of words and how people write is a special interest of mine. It's so funny because the doctor's like, you challenged me, you corrected me when I said something about you because you're autistic, and neurotypical people would just nod it along just to be polite and just to get things going. And then as this doctor continues talking and is like, oh my god, like, and is just doing the same thing over again, it's like, you probably want to do this, or this would be a good idea for you. Jessie just is like, yeah, totally. Like doing the exact thing the doctor said she wouldn't do, because it's like there's like several components of this, of like masking, which is when like putting on essentially a neurotypical presentation to try and fit in more. I feel like kind of like nodding along with someone as they talk, especially if you're not particularly trying to get into a conversation. I feel like that is something that like she could have easily picked up as a masking aspect of masking for one. And so you see her being that three-dimensional, like there are reasons to why she does what she does. Like autism isn't just a list of traits. There's also intention and reasoning behind a lot of the things and a lot of the traits of autism, and that's why a lot of people, especially women and girls, get like missed for autism diagnosis is because people are looking for specific things, specifically looking for someone to line up toy trucks and not looking for why does one line up their toy trucks, and from there see how that applies to other aspects of and like other actions you could do. That's one thing that I found super funny about that. The other thing, and maybe this is the autism in me coming out with the situation, if like it's also context that I feel, and again, maybe the therapist is right and like a neurotypical person wouldn't would have just like nodded on and respond. And I'm just sitting here like, but you're a doctor, right? Like, you're the therapist. You're supposed to be helping find her needs and her treatments. So when you asked a question, even if it's a relatively leading question, wouldn't it, like, would neurotypical people not want to, like, say, like, hey, like, correct you? Like, would a neurotypical person not want to be like, hey, no, this is the issue that I'm having. That's not the issue I'm having. This is the issue I'm having. So let's shift focus. Like, is that, like, I feel like that would be such an odd time to not want to correct someone, is when they are explicitly asking you for your symptoms in which to, so they can, like, try and figure out your treatment, like with a doctor or a therapist. That's so weird to me. But also I can see it makes sense. And that, like, when you look at how doctors and therapists can often be a really hard place for the disabled community, like, that would explain why so many doctors and therapists get super hostile when a patient corrects them and is trying to, like, be like, hey, these are the issues that I'm having, these are the thing, like, can you listen? When a patient is trying to insist a doctor actually listen to what the patient's saying instead of just ignoring them, it would make sense if that is very much related to the idea that most people just wouldn't say anything and would just move on about their day, because in a doctor's office, a doctor's office, a doctor's going to see, like, a lot of people who aren't disabled and a lot of people who aren't dealing with these quote unquote rare issues. And so that they don't necessarily maybe need to have any back and forth in order to figure out the problem. It's tiring out here, man. Doctors are rough. Doctors are rough. The boys. Boys. Okay, so we have two boys. We have Levi, who is the boy that she's absolutely in love with. And we have Griffin, who is the boy that's, like, absolutely in love with her. Spoilers, but, like, it's one of those things where Jesse doesn't get it, but like, I think the audience is kind of supposed to be able to pick up on that before she does. So let's start with Griffin. I loved so much about Griffin. I loved watching those two, him and Jesse, bond and get along. And I, like, the story with him is super funny because it is the concept is that Jesse probably wasn't picking up on the fact that he was super into her, because she basically is, like, compartmentalizing away any feeling she has from him, because they say they're friends, and so let's not even bother with that. And I'm not gonna lie, I think this is me. I think this is exactly me. I think this is I think this has been me for a hot minute. Like, I am the type of person, I did not know my husband was flirting with me until he actually just asked me on a date. I remember, no, the worst one was, I was working at a Forever 21. I was working there. And this one day, like, I had been talking to this customer, and then after he leaves, my boss is like, God, I've never seen someone get flirted with so much. And I was like, what? He wasn't flirting with me. Thinking back on the conversation now, he was literally like, hey, we're having a beach party, you should come. And I'm like, nah, I'm not really a party person. Nah, I'd enjoy seeing you there. Like, he was saying stuff like that, and just in my head I'm like, I'm just not really a party person, I'd probably be boring there, you don't want to see me there. And he was like, I would like to see you there. And just in my head I was just like, they probably just need bodies for the party. They just want fun people there. We are the same. Me and Jesse, we are the same human being. Oh my god. And yeah, we're the exact same human being. Oh my lord. But one of my favorite things that we get in the book, and one of my favorite things with Griffin is that, again, reading it feels very obvious that he is super in love with Jesse, but because Jesse is super in love with Levi, he really does like take that step back and he plays wingman for her. He hates it, and he still will chime in with like, you deserve better, like I know this is what you want, but I don't think that like you should be getting treated like this. I don't think he should be making you feel like this, and I think you should look for something else. But at the end of the day, he is very much just focused on getting helping Jessie get what she wants, whatever would make her happy. And I just really appreciate seeing that kind of selfless love in this book. There does become a like point of tension where there's like a miscommunication, and that leads to some issues for them. But I think it is more, because like I said, spoilers, it is like there's a point where he asks her to go to this school dance, but she is like thinking that they're just going as friends. And so she gets to the dance and she's looking around for Levi, and he's like, well, this sucks. I think he thought it was a date, and he's on this date with her, and she is looking for some other guy the entire time. And he's like, well, this sucks. But that is he thought they were on a date, but she did not explicitly get told that this was a date, so she did not mentally shift to a point where she was thinking of this as a date. And so that is like the point where he kind of needs more space, where he is not able to keep this up, is when it is a point where he felt like they were supposed to be taking another step towards being more than friends. And that obviously, like, if you were on a date with someone and they were constantly looking for or talking about their ex, that kind of sucks. So like that is the thing that ends up being kind of a breaking point for him. But before then, he is just, even though he knows he wants to be with her, he is just determined to make sure she gets whatever she wants to be happy. And that's super, super cute, and I love that. Ugh. Now, let's talk about Levi. We're going to talk about Levi. And then afterwards, I have a playlist of songs that I put together for this book. It's linked down below. The playlist is on my vlog channel, just because that's where all my book playlists are, so I might as well just throw it over there. We're gonna talk about Levi, and the playlist has a lot of songs primarily focused on him, and primarily thinking about him and their fucking flopping. It's So I don't like Levi. I don't like Levi. And what I did like about the character is that even though he had a lot of red flags, he wasn't like an evil villain. There are truly a handful of points where it would have just been a no deal from me if it were me. But I do genuinely think that he cared about Jesse. He is just a kid that doesn't know what he wants. And like a thing that I think is important with that is like I like that it is, you know, he like it is just a bad situation, maybe right person wrong time kind of thing, But I think what's good about that is you show a very like human and but still, rough situation that isn't necessarily a like he's in the wrong, but he isn't like, I don't think he's malicious. That's what it is. I think he's in the wrong, but I do not think he is intending to hurt her in the ways that he does. And the book is not shy about showing how it hurts her and how it is emotionally like damaging her, like as she still tries to pursue him, but also showing the point and the progression of her falling out of love with him because like she has this goal that she wants to be with him, and she for a long time isn't ready to let go of the idea of him, but you can see how the actual experience of their relationship is really affecting her to the point where she does just fall out of love with him and does really just have a hard time connecting with him the way she had wanted to before it started getting really messy and all of that and painful for her. And I think that one of the key things, because I made the mistake of looking at reviews of this book, and there were people who were like, it's like she keeps getting back with him. I don't know why she keeps getting back with him, kind of thing. It feels like she's just like not even thinking when she keeps going back. And I think the reason why she has like she does, because it doesn't feel as on and off as like a Ross and Rachel type of thing. It feels like every time that they are quote together, it is a very different situation. It is like every stage of them being quote together is like, it truly is like one step forward, two steps back, one step forward, two steps back. And so you see them kind of flirting to not really talking to dating in secret to not really talking to dating in public to fully breaking up. So it doesn't feel like we're just trying the same thing over and over and over again. It feels like we are trying to, like, it feels like they are like changing in the relationship. And I think I think part of what is pushing, I don't know if pushing is the word that I want to use, but part of what is like keeping her from like fully walking away, and part of what is keeping, like, allowing her to continue to give him chances is because, again, some of that tism, the like autistic tendency to take people at their word and think that when humans use words, they use them because they mean them. And so she's taking what he says literally. Earlier on in the book, he says that she was misunderstanding their relationship and that they were always just friends. She takes that literally and thinks, oh, well, I guess I don't really have a right to be mad that he wants to be with someone else. There's a point where he tells her that he doesn't want to break up with his girlfriend for her because he doesn't want his girlfriend to bully her once if he dumps the girl for Jesse. And she takes that literally. And so she's like, this is why we aren't getting together, is because he feels this strongly about this idea. And like, So like she is very, very seriously taking these things as their word and is believing them and is using that to define her interpretation of what he is doing. And, you know, as someone who's done that, it sucks. And it's also, I think, a key thing for her and getting out of it that I didn't have, and so I was stuck in it for 4 fucking years, is she has examples of good relationships. So she has examples of her relationship with Griffin, with the girls, and with her family that she can compare to and be like, well, I like these experiences more, and that helps her to helps her to remove herself from that relationship that's just really toxic for her, is because she has something to compare to and say, well, I can have better. But because it is like I can have better, as well as, well, maybe your love isn't good for me, kind of like, because it's, on my end, it is like well, they say they love me, and so maybe there's something wrong with me for not appreciating their love. And you do get her kind of having some like semblance of those thoughts, but again, she does have those relationships with other people that she can use to be like, no, this could have been better, this could have felt better, this could have been a much better situation. It just wasn't. And I really appreciate that we do get that, like, depth of emotional turmoil in the book with what could be such a, well, you know, this boy sucks, he's an asshole, she needs to find the good guy. Like, it is a very bad situation, but there is, I feel like, a lot of depth and a lot of layers to what she's going through with him throughout this book. But yeah, let's check out this playlist. So I have quite a few songs. This isn't all of the songs. Again, the playlist is linked. I have a link to it, the playlist on Tidal, as well as a link to it on YouTube on my vlog channel. Some of the songs on here, Truth Volume 2 is the one that literally would not, like, that song was basically playing in my head the entire time I was reading this book. But yeah, we have several other songs, and then I think there's 11 songs total on the playlist. So if you want to check that out, link is down below. That's pretty much all I have to say about the book. Again, fantastic read, 5 stars. We love it. But yeah, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, valedictions, friends.